Thank you. I would say that this is a very unique feeling for me because just a few years ago I was sitting up there where you guys are sitting at. So I know exactly what you guys are thinking about because I was just thinking the same thing just a few years ago. So it's like, how am I going to grow my company? How am I going to get to the next level? So I would say this, that it is possible and it is going to happen so long as you are persistent enough and resourceful enough to make it happen. So I'm going to tell you a few things that you don't know and then a few things that you probably already know. A few things that you don't know is my background, so I'll share that. And then I'll talk about some things that you guys probably already know, which is some advices that you probably already know and you probably already heard, but I'll say it anyways because they are truthful and they do make sense and it does work. So my background is, I grew up in South Central LA. I was the youngest of 7, single parent on welfare, and it was just like many kids, like kind of like South Paul helps out right now. I was that kid, so what you're doing makes a difference. So I would encourage you to keep on going, brother, because I'm that kid you're speaking to now. So it makes a big difference. So I was a good kid. I was just misguided. I didn't have much guidance. So I was just floating around. I was smart enough to go to school and kind of just goof off and get a C and get by. That was good enough for me. My goals at the time, growing up in South Central, was to get a car, Kenwood Systems, and put some rims on it. Those were the goals. So fortunately, I achieved that by the age of 17. So then I was like, what do I do now? I didn't have much guidance. I was smart enough to realize that in high school, they force you to go, and yet I'm still cutting school. So that's the only reason why I'm going. In college, nobody forces you to go. I was smart enough to realize that. I'm not gonna make it. So my brother at the time was in the armed forces. He was a Marine, and he was on leave, vacation. And I was speaking to him one day, and I was like, hey, Enrique, I'm thinking about joining the Marines. And he said it in his Marine way, which was probably not politically correct to say, so I'm not gonna say exactly what he said, but he was like, join the Navy. So the following day, the Navy recruiter showed up to my classroom, and I just walked up to him and said, I'm your easiest recruit, where do I sign up? So he's like, oh, if you're serious about it, you gotta take this thing called the ASPAD and whatnot, and we'll put you in the delayed entry program. And that's what I did. I signed up for the Navy. I was off about a year later, and I was fortunate enough to be stationed in La Maddalena, Italy, which is pretty much a different country. So I'm realizing, as I'm walking the streets of Rome at the time, I was able to take a little bit of vacation and go to Rome to sightsee. Less than a year ago, I'm walking on Florence and Compton, and now I'm over here walking in Piazza in Rome. So I'm grabbing and taking all this stuff in. So as life happens, circumstances, I joined the military after 9/11. I was like, okay, this is one of the things that I want to do. I want to be a firefighter. Fortunately, so did everybody else. So the job was overmanned. So they were like, my career counselor was like, you need to take a test. You need to choose a job. There's this thing called logistics specialist. Don't worry, just write your name on it. And once the job firefighter becomes available, you can do that. So I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So I write my name and I pass. It was 100% advancement. So I was like, great. Now I'm doing something I don't want to do. But it's the best thing that ever happened to me because it taught me the skill sets that prepared me to start my business. So I became a logistics specialist. So what does the logistics specialist do? They're a purchaser. So the Navy trains you to purchase on behalf of the Navy. So as I was buying stuff, I was buying things that I felt like were really overpriced, or I felt that they were hard to find. And I was just like, this doesn't make sense. Why don't they just buy this in the commercial world? And learning all these things, just taking it in, like not really realizing how is it going to affect me in the future. So I'm doing this job, and then my tour is coming up whether I either re-enlist or I get out. At the time, the housing market was great. I wanted to get out and flip houses. I felt like the Navy was now allowing me because of the job that I had and the commitments that I had to now flip houses. So like, I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna flip houses. Great, I buy a house. Buy a house and think I'm gonna flip it. Unfortunately, this is 2008 and the market crashes. So I'm like, great, what am I gonna do now? So I'm like, I can't sell it anymore. And if I don't wanna take a loss and I don't wanna give it back because I don't wanna ruin my credit score, I don't wanna be able to say that I wasn't able to do it. So I just became resourceful. I called all my Navy friends and I said, who wants to move in? So I took a mortgage and turned it around to positive cash flow. I rented out 3 bedrooms and I slept on the couch for about a year. And so I had enough money to get my own room. But at the same time, I was making money. So I realized, okay, what's my backup plan? I don't have one. So I started going to school. I was like, okay, I use my GI Bill. So I started going to community college. City College is where I started. So I'm going to City College, and I'm learning about business in this thing called niche markets. What's a niche market? I'm like, okay, niche market. Oh, that's kind of like in the Navy when we had a hard time finding these products. So I'm in the class. I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is a business, maybe it's not. I start networking with people just through coincidence, and I met this gentleman that was a retired Master Chief, so pretty much the highest you can get on the enlistment level when it comes to the Navy, and I pitched him my idea. He's like, hey, that's a good idea, we can be business partners. I'm like, you believe in me? Great, let's be business partners, without really knowing how we're gonna complement each other, or some of these things that I know now, how we're gonna work together. So we became business partners. We started the business. It just happens that the attorney that we were helping us incorporate the business thought it was a good idea. He said, I want to be a business partner too. Yeah, come join us too. Why not? This is a crazy idea. I was just excited that people thought there was some merit to an idea that I had. So people came on board. We started the business, and it was just pure hustle. I was trying to buy products that wasn't really sold to the commercial world. So through my skill sets that I learned in the Navy that they taught me, I was able to find out who were the manufacturers for these products, so I started contacting them. I started asking them, hey, will you sell me this product? And they're like, no. Why would you want to buy this? It has no commercial application. So I got no for about 2 months. And then at the same time, I'm already building my customer base saying, hey, I could do this. I could get you these products. So I'm building customer base, I'm building interest, building a pipeline of revenue before I even had the product. Probably not the smartest things to do, but that's what I did. So I finally was able to convince one company to sell me their product at a higher price. They said, fine, we'll sell you the product, but the Navy's our preferred customer, so you have to buy it at a higher price. I said, fair enough, that's my problem. So I was able to buy the product. I went to my customer base. I said, you can either buy this product from the stock system, or you can buy it from me. Yes, you're gonna buy it from me, and it's gonna be a little bit more expensive, but you're gonna receive it in 2 weeks versus the stock system 2 to 3 months. And oh, by the way, if somebody has a higher priority, they just ship your product to somebody else. Meaning if a ship is going forward deployed or they're in deployment, the product that you had on back order became more on back order. So I was able to provide a solution to the market. So I did that for about a year and a half. We had about 180,000 in sales. I was just really living off my savings in my GI Bill. I was able to, at that point, generate enough interest to go up to DLA, which is Defense Logistics Agency in Columbus, Ohio, and show them what I was doing. And they were, for whatever reason, they gave me a contract and said, okay, well, you're doing something that looks viable. We'll give you an opportunity. We'll give you a government contract. They gave me a government contract, and from that following year, we increased from about 180,000 to 1.2 million because we already had a customer base that was waiting for us. They just needed a contract vehicle. So everything's going great. Everybody's happy. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough vision to see what was the next step. So I'm talking to my customer base. I'm getting kind of different requests. I'm thinking I'm selling shipboard products, but then they start asking me for shop vacs, televisions, and other things. And I realized I'm really selling convenience. That's really the value that I'm bringing to the market is convenience. So I partnered up with a company called Granger, which happens to be a Fortune 500 company. And they're like, hey, we've got this program called Distributor Alliance Program that takes veteran-owned, minority-owned companies and allows them to resell our product at a much discounted rate. So I got into that program, and overnight I had over what it was 200 products at the time to be able to sell to the government to 1.1 million. So now my offering expanded. So the business is growing. We're growing outside the Navy. So we grew from what is local to regional to now we're national. So the business is growing, everything is humming, but I'm not happy. About 5 years into the business, I just wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with the relationship with my partner at the time. We just had two different visions of the organization. We're both founders. It's just a matter of, I wanted to grow the business, he didn't. We should have had a discussion like this at the beginning. What's our exit? What are we going to be doing once we get to a certain point? We didn't. So we were just fighting. He had his team of people that employees that supported him, and I had my team. And it was just a toxic environment. So I was like, I don't need this. I'm young enough. I think I learned enough to go start something else. So we had a really good conversation saying, okay, either you're gonna buy me out or I buy you out. But do you have the energy to keep this going? You already have your pension, you have your disability, you have all these income streams coming in. I don't. That's the reason why I need to continue growing this business. So he realized that it probably didn't have the energy and the time to wanting to grow, so I just pretty much bought him out. Which was good and bad. Cost a lot of money. But at the same time, I believed in myself, but not enough. One of the companies that I was partnered up with, as I mentioned earlier, is a Fortune 500 company. I looked outside what I already had within. I brought somebody else on board thinking that they were going to take the company to the next level. I said, okay, this is a corporate person that has corporate training and knowledge, and they're going to take this small business and they're going to bring structure to us, and they're going to help us grow. Unfortunately, some of you guys may have experience working in a corporate environment, working in a small business are two different animals. And the skill sets that you possess in the corporate world are not necessarily going to transfer over to the business. Business is much fast-paced. Decisions have to be made at a much faster, and the consequences are a lot bigger based on those decisions. So our business was growing year over year over year, and then after separating with my business partner, I anticipated there was going to be a dip, but it took a dramatic dip because the whole business model that we had that was a niche market, we walked away from. So like, okay, this is not good. Because this other person said, no, if you do this other thing, if we invest over here, we do all these other things, which I didn't feel comfortable at the time, but I wasn't confident enough to say, no, you probably know better. That's what I was telling myself. He knows better. He's older than I am, he has a lot more experience, and he comes from corporate. So I'm trusting in this individual, and then I see my business start tanking. One year we tanked, I was like, okay, anticipated that. The following year we're tanking, and then I realized, no, you need to fix this. You need to look for yourself within to try to turn it around. So like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, okay, we need to focus back to our niche market because that's what brought us to the dance, and we need to diversify our revenue. So our customer base has always been asking for services. We've always been a product business because our partners are product business. The distribution centers that we have, whether ourselves or our partners, are product based. But there's always a service component to that. So if we were selling janitorial products, people all wanted janitorial service, and we said, no, we don't do that. So I asked myself, why don't we do that? So we were fortunate enough to understand the government market enough to realize you need past performance. So we started taking on smaller jobs, albeit we weren't really making money, but we were building our portfolio to get some of these bigger jobs. I was able to revamp the team that we had. I was able to diversify the business to now we offer janitorial services and product installation. We were very fortunate to be one of 9 companies to be awarded a $2.5 billion contract from the VA to be furniture installer for any VA hospital and clinic throughout the United States. We're the only company in the West Coast. And we were very fortunate to be awarded a $1.9 billion contract. This month, we're one of 26 to provide some of the products that we were talking about earlier, all at the same time keeping true to our history, which was that niche market where we started. So this has been a journey that I encompassed with 9-year journey, going on 10, in a matter of a few minutes. So I try to make it as easy as possible, but what were some of those lessons that I learned throughout the process? I learned that you're always going to doubt yourself, and that's fine. But you still have to move forward. You still have to figure it out. You have to be resourceful because nobody's going to give you the answer. If you're looking at somebody else to give you the answer of how to take your business to the next level, you're going to be dependent on them. And then if the results aren't there, you're going to be frustrated because you're going to look to blame somebody else and not yourself. So I learned to be resourceful throughout those 9 years, going on 10. Another thing that I learned is you're never going to have enough of anything. You're always going to want for more. You're always going to say, hey, if I had more capital, if I had more people on my team, if I had a better marketing, X, Y, Z, you fill in the gap. One thing you always have to have in abundance is creativity. That's free. As long as you're creative enough, you'll figure something out. Align that with being resourceful, trust me, you have a good game plan. One of the last things I'll share that I would say that I was able to learn throughout this journey is it's going to take a lot of hard work to get to the top. A lot. It isn't going to be easy because anything that's worthwhile is not just handed to you. So understand that there is no shortcut to success. You're going to have to work hard. But once you get to that pinnacle, it's going to take a lot of discipline to stay up there. Because I know you guys are entrepreneurs. I know you guys have vision. And you believe every idea is a good idea. But the reality is not the case. And you can lose focus, even if it is. So you have to stay focused on what's your guiding pole. What is it that's motivating you to get to that level? What is it that is keeping you up at night, the problem that you're trying to solve? Or maybe you're just trying to prove a point. When I got into business, it was just really, I want to learn about business. What is it that drives business? That's was my start, and now it's evolved. I want to help people. That's why I'm in business. I want to help the people I employ. I want to help the customers that we have. I want to make their life easier. That's my guiding purpose. You got to understand yours, because that's going to get you through those tough times. Thank you.